Welcome to Creativity Cooks. Today we are making vegetable pot stickers. To make this recipe, you will need the following ingredients: 4 to 6 wonton wrappers, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 1/8 of a cup of mushrooms, 1/8 of a cup of onions, 1/4 cup of cabbage, 4 baby carrots, 1 tablespoon of cilantro, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of minced ginger, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar, half a teaspoon of sesame oil. The sesame oil is strictly optional and you only can use it, or if you want to use it, if you do have it at home, but we did not send it in your Creativity Cooks kit, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and pepper. You will also need a little bit of water. Once you have all the necessary ingredients, let's begin. Let's start by prepping your vegetables. Please ask a parent or guardian for help, but things like your onions and your carrots and your cabbage, please use a knife and dice them up into small chunks. So let's start with step 1. Place a medium pot on the stove and turn the heat on to medium. Once your pot is on the stove, please add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil to the medium pot. Once your vegetable oil is in, you can use your pot or mixing spoon to stir it around a little bit before adding your vegetables. To add the vegetables, we will need to add your mushrooms, followed by your onions, and then your diced carrots. You can also add your cilantro. If you didn't cut the cilantro up, it's okay, but you can also dice it up into small pieces if you want to as well. You can add that to your pot, and you will also add your minced garlic and your minced ginger. It is very important now, because the stove is on, these will start getting hot. The heat of the oil will start to fry them. You do not want to leave this pot unattended. So please add your ingredients to your pot, and then you will need to use your mixing spoon so you can mix the contents of this pot up very, very well. We are going to cook this for about 2 minutes. And as you've noticed, we still have a couple of ingredients we have not added yet. We want things like your carrots to be nice and soft when we are eating them. We don't want them too soft. I do like them a little bit crunchy. But we are not going to add your cabbage just yet until after we have cooked some of these carrots up with the onions and the ginger and the garlic to, one, soften the carrots up a little bit, but to also not make your cabbage way too soft once it is being cooked. And what I'm going to do, normally I will fast forward through this video so that you guys, you can finish the video faster, you can pause it and you can see it. But I'm going to let this cook through a little bit, almost in real time. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, but I do want you guys to see this process of how these vegetables are getting sizzled into this pot, and why it is also important that you continually stir this pot. Also, one of the things, if you can see right now, my oil, it's bubbling so much, so you can see that the temperature of the pot is getting hot. All of our stoves are different, so although I said to put this on to medium heat, if you find that your pot and the oil is just sizzling and just popping up too much, then go ahead and lower that heat from medium and lower it down to a low heat. With different stoves, like I said, it gives you different temperatures, and different pots also conduct heat a little bit differently as well. So definitely always when you're cooking, regardless of what it is, be mindful of the pot that you're using, be mindful of the stove that you're using, and also just keep watching it. You can see that just, for the last 10 seconds or so, I did not stir this pot at all. And if you see the outer edges of my onions and the outer edges of some of that garlic that I put into this pot, they are starting to burn a little bit. They're starting to get dark around the outer edges. And I want to show you guys this because sometimes when we do have in-person classes, we start talking to our friends, we look around, and this right here of just not stirring it, it can make the contents of our pots burn. So constantly be on the lookout, be there, and keep on stirring it. And after about 2 minutes now of my contents being in this pot, and I was stirring it, even though I didn't for about 30 seconds, we can go ahead and add our cabbage to this mixture. You want to add the cabbage. I just turned my heat down a little bit so that it's just not getting too hot in there. But once we add the cabbage, we're going to stir this around for close to, I want to say about 5 minutes because those carrots are still cooking. I'm going to speed this up a little bit and go to the next step, but just so you guys can see how that cabbage is made. And once it's finished, I will remove all that content from the stove and I'm going to add it to a medium bowl so that it can cool down and that I can add the rest of my ingredients to this mixture so we can get it ready for our vegetable pot stickers. So once I've added I'm calling it the mushroom mixture, but you can also call it the vegetable mixture. Once I've added it to this medium bowl, I will also need to add a couple of other ingredients. So I'm going to add some soy sauce to this mixture. I am also going to add a little bit of rice vinegar, as well as a pinch of salt and black pepper. If you have sesame oil at home, you can also add it to this mixture as well. It is optional, not required, but it does also make it taste really good if you have that option. But again, it is absolutely not required. And once you have added these ingredients to your medium bowl, you can go ahead and use your mixing spoon to mix them up and just move and mix the contents around so that soy sauce and vinegar helps to add to the flavor. And once you have mixed them up, you can go ahead and set this bowl aside so the contents can cool down. Awesome. So let's start getting your wonton wrappers ready for this. So we want to place one of these wonton wrappers on a clean and dry surface. And you can use your mixing spoon or a measuring spoon and just kind of scoop about a tablespoon or so of this mixture into the center of your wonton noodles. And then you can grab a little bit of water and use your finger and dab around the edges. This water will help this wonton wrapper to stick together. You don't need to add too much of it, just a little bit. And once you have dabbed some water, just like I did, we can just get a little bit more water and press it down along the sides of this wrapper. And this helps this wrapper to stick together and to hold all of your vegetable mixture on the inside. And as you can see what I just did, I've dabbed a little bit of water along the edges and I just folded it over. Again, I'm trying to secure this vegetable mixture inside this wrapper so that when I go to cook it again, it is not going to fall out. And when you pick it up, you should be able to pick it up without the contents falling out as well. We are going to repeat steps 8 through 11 with all of the wonton wrappers that you have. Some of you have about 4 to 6 that you received in your meal kits. This recipe was good to make about 4. If you put a smaller amount in there, you can get 6 of these pot stickers in with this recipe, but it really does make about 4 of them. And I'm just showing you guys really quickly too. Some of my students I saw that were folding them in half just like this as opposed to on the angle like I did in my previous one. You are more than welcome to do this as well. It ends up tasting the same, it just gives it a different look. But again, just remember, use some water to go ahead and seal these edges and fold those sides of it over so that it gets sealed in there. So when we go to cook it, we are not going to have our delicious vegetable mixture falling out of this wrapper. And again, go ahead and repeat these steps with all of your other wrappers so that we can get these pot stickers back in the pot to start cooking again. And to cook these again, I'm using the same pot that I used before. I think the flavor that I added to my original vegetable mixture will be great to help to fry these pot stickers in here. So I cleaned it out a little bit and I placed my medium pot back onto the stove. And I will also need to add another tablespoon of oil to this pot. And I also want to turn the heat on to medium heat. Again, if you found before that the medium heat was too hot for what you were trying to accomplish, go ahead and definitely lower that heat because we do not want these to burn. And as the stove is heating up, we can go ahead and carefully add each of our pot stickers to the stove, and we will begin by cooking all of them on one side and then we will flip them over. When you are adding these to your stove, just be very careful. The stove can get very hot. It's already on, and the oil in this stove can also start popping up if it gets too hot, and you can also drop them in like I just did. So just please be careful. I'm using a pair of tongs to carefully lower them in. Do not use your hands for this step at all. And if you need to get a parent or guardian to help you with this step, please ask them to do so. And you want to watch these very carefully. We are going to cook each side of these pot stickers for about 1 to 2 minutes, again, depending on the heat that your stove is giving off. You can see the oil in my stove is already getting hot, and we want to just make sure we watch this so that we are not burning our pot stickers. And once each side has been cooking for about a minute and it starts becoming a nice golden brown color, then we can use our tongs and carefully flip these over to the other side, which we will need to cook again for about another 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how fast our stove is cooking these. You want to be really careful if you are using tongs to flip these over. You don't want to squeeze them too hard, and you also do not want to tear at them too much. These wonton wrappers are pretty strong, but they're not that strong. So we do want to be mindful with them that we are just being gentle and turning them over properly. You can see that my pot stickers now are a nice, quite golden brown. The brown that you're really seeing is the soy sauce that came from the mixture that I added to the bowl. But also be very careful though, because this could also be getting burnt. So you want to just watch to make sure that these are not burning too much, but that they are still cooked. Once you have cooked both sides of your pot stickers, please go ahead and remove them from the stove, but allow them to cool. To eat them, you can definitely enjoy them with some additional soy sauce. You can enjoy them on their own. Please let them cool first before you eat them, and we hope that you guys absolutely enjoy this recipe. Thank you all so much for cooking with us, and don't forget to reach out to us to let us know how your vegetable pot stickers tasted. Thank you. We'll see you guys next week.